Hi guys, I'm Silvy. Welcome to or back to my channel. So as you guys know already by the title, today I'm going to be reviewing Patrick Ta's Major Skin Creme Foundation and Finishing Powder Duo. Oh my gosh, it's such a mouthful. This just recently got released. It totally caught me by surprise. I did not know this was coming out, but I feel like I've been dreaming about this product since he started his brand. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you already know that I impulse bought this item as soon as it got released. I think it was set to release on the 30th of August, but on Sephora it did get released on the 29th, so I got on that as soon as it came out. So I think because of where it was getting shipped out from in Canada, it did arrive for me literally the day after, so that was super fast. But I did order the wrong shade, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. So I did have to return that, and I did order a second one that is closer to my skin tone. So before we get into the review and demo, let me talk you through my skin type and what I like in a foundation. So I'm 31 years old. I have dry to very dry skin depending on the time of the year. I do have mild hyperpigmentation around my mouth and nose and eyes. I also have a little bit of texture, like I tend to get texture through the center of my face and my forehead and around my mouth a little bit. So when it comes to my ideal foundation type, something I like to wear every day and even on special occasions, I do prefer sheer to light coverage, maybe medium sometimes. I do like it to be pretty blurring and also have a satin finish. So I'm gonna try and breeze through all the information on the powder as fast as I can because it's so much information. So the cream portion of this product is 12 grams and the powder is 9 grams of product. It retails for $69 Canadian, which is basically $70. It's a lot of money. And then it is 52 US dollars. This foundation comes in 24 shades. The formula is a cream with medium to buildable coverage. It's vegan and cruelty-free. It comes with a pressed powder. It's a natural finish. It's fragrance-free. There's glow-enhancing emollients which minimize the appearance of pores and impart a fresh, dewy, skin-like luminosity. Okay, so basically it's just a really dewy, luminous, very skin-like foundation, and the powder is going to be blurring. Now it is not a setting powder, it is a finishing powder. So finishing powders you're just using to finish off the makeup. Okay, so this is me from a little while after you're watching the intro. I got so excited doing the intro and getting carried away with it that I didn't even show you the product. Here is the product. Beautiful rose gold packaging that he normally has. Okay, I'm gonna try and not give you like crazy glare here, but that's the compact. It's huge. Here's the bronzer duo in comparison. So this is the foundation, this is the bronzer duo. So yeah, much bigger. And here is the product. So you've got the foundation on the top here, the cream, and the finishing powder on the bottom. And it does have his usual little protective thing so that it separates the cream from the powder. So that's what the shade looks like. And it's really, really super creamy. And I'll just swatch that for you. It's a lot lighter than my skin tone right now because I wanted to order it in my normal shade, but I'll explain more about that later. So it does help to have a very hydrated base, and it's going to help the cream to blend a lot easier. With this cream product, it is very sheer and very light, so you don't have to worry about the heavy feeling that other cream foundations have. I'm actually going to talk about the demo that Patrick has put up on his Instagram page. So I would encourage all of you to go and look at that demo because it is very helpful to go through it the way that he intends for you to use this product. So in the demo, Patrick does say that you need to start off with a very hydrated base, and with cream products, they traditionally can tend to be a little bit thick or you need to warm them up. And I think that this one's supposed to be a lot lighter and blend easier. Now I will tell you guys that I have already tried this product. This is not going to be like a first impressions. It is a very, very expensive product. So I want to make sure that I try it out properly and give it a fair chance before I tell you guys about it. So you know exactly how it's going to work and what the pros are, what the cons are. So back to Patrick's demo. Start off with a very hydrated base. He also released a dual-ended brush with this. It might be around 42 Canadian. I'll have to look it up and I'll list it down below. But it is a dual-ended brush. It's got a dense foundation brush on one side and then a fluffier powder brush on the other side. So with the foundation brush, he'll blend out the cream. It blended really easily. And then with the powder brush, he set really the center of the face, like the T-zone area with the finishing powder. The finishing powder is meant to be translucent, but it has a very slight tint to it for every single shade. So it's going to be deeper for the deeper complexions and lighter for the lighter complexions. And he just lightly set the center of the face. It's also meant to be a little bit brightening, so you are not meant to use it on your entire face. You can if you want, but I think it's gonna end up giving you a little bit of a white cast and change the color of your foundation. So let's talk about the shades and the pictures online and everything, because it can get really confusing ordering products online. So there are 24 shades, and he has a pretty good range between the lightest to the darkest. This is what I found to help you order online. Initially, when I ordered the first one, I looked at the picture of the model and I wanted to get it in the skin tone that I am now. I am now in my summer shade. I'm much more tan than I usually am. I looked at the skin tone of the model that I was closest to and I ordered based on that. I did feel like the picture of the foundation versus what was on the skin of the model looked a little bit different. Like the picture of the foundation looked deeper. I got it. I didn't even have to swatch it. I knew immediately it was too dark for me. It was probably like at least 2 to 3 shades too dark for me. And then what I decided I would do, because summer is coming to an end and I'm not gonna have this tan much longer, I decided I was gonna order it in my normal shades. So I used the shade matching tool, and I think the perfect shade that I used was Dior Backstage Face and Body 3WO, which is 3 Warm Olive. And then the shade match that I got from Major Skin was Light Medium 4, which is a light medium olive undertone. I also looked at the picture of the model and the picture of the foundation on Sephora. The model looked to have definitely closer to my skin tone, my normal skin tone, which is like a light medium olive. And then I looked at the picture of the foundation and it looked definitely more true to color. So if you're trying to pick based off of the photos, do go by the photos of the actual foundation compact, because I find that that color in the photo is more true to real life. Okay, I hope that all made sense. So once again, the second order arrived in literally one day, which was yesterday. And I knew that today was going to be my day to film, so I wanted to give it a go last night. So I decided to try it the way that Patrick had suggested, which was to start with a very hydrated base. I do usually use an oil and a moisturizer to hydrate my skin because my skin is very dry, and I tend to use more like matte to semi-matte foundation, so I do have to hydrate my skin well. So I was like, okay, well, since this is the way that Patrick would do it, this is how I'm going to do it as well. And upon initial application, it went on so smoothly. It blended out so fast. It blended out like a dream. It was a beautiful, to me, like sheer light coverage. I think because I tend to not use a lot. I mean, I'm wearing it now, so this is what the shade is. It's definitely a little bit lighter for my skin right now, but it's gonna be the perfect shade for me when I lose my tan. And I think it still works because I blended it down my neck, so obviously it's lighter than my body, but I'm happy with the shade. And then I use the powder, and so here's my first impressions. I wasn't that thrilled. First of all, it was very luminous. I think because I used a lot of hydrating skin prep products, it was more luminous than I normally like to wear on a daily basis. Don't get me wrong, the foundation itself was beautiful and it blended out amazingly. The finishing powder is not meant to like mattify or anything. It's supposed to still give you a very natural finish. And so I still had this really dewy, luminous look, and I was like, okay, well, this looks really beautiful. Now, I will tell you that I'm a foundation complexion snob. I'm very particular. Just because something looks really nice doesn't mean that it's my preference. So I'm just gonna be very nitpicky because I love foundation and complexion products. So yeah, this is just the first trial. So I am gonna try and insert a picture here of the first trial. And yes, it was definitely more luminous. And the thing with having something that luminous is it highlights all my texture. And that's why I'll let you guys know my favorite foundation is the Dior Backstage Face and Body, because it is a satin finish, more like satin matte, and it just blurs out everything, and it's light coverage but still very perfecting. And honestly, if I was gonna wear a dewy foundation, this would be something that I would go to because it is beautiful. And yeah, so I was like, you know what, I wasn't 100% happy with what it turned out to be, so I wanted to give it another go, but prepping my skin accordingly to how I would want the finish to be. I washed off my makeup, and instead of using an oil and a cream to prep my skin, I used just a cream, and then I went over with the foundation. Even without the extra hydration, it blended beautifully like a dream. And then with the powder, and I figured that since it was going to be my normal routine, I needed to put it to the test with how I normally do my makeup. So normally I do use a loose setting powder and then a finishing powder. So I decided to go in with my RCMA loose powder to lightly set my entire face. And then I went over with the translucent finishing powder from the compact, and this time I loved it. I took a bunch of pictures, which I will post, of the second trial. I loved it, guys. It was beautiful, and every time I kept catching my face, I was like, wow, this is really evened out. It's blurred out. It's not a ton of coverage, but it still did an amazing job of evening out my skin and blurring it, and I was able to get it to be the finish that I like, which is like still sort of glowy but like satiny. So obviously here is the foundation and the finishing powder on. This is what my everyday makeup looks like. The only difference is that today I did try to use all of the Patrick Ta products that I have, and one of them is the cream and powder bronzer duo, so I did use a cream bronzer today. But yeah, this is how my everyday makeup normally looks, and guys, I think this is beautiful and perfect. We're gonna go into the demo right now, and then I'll show you more what this looks like. So I'm taking my e.l.f. poreless putty brush, which is a very dense brush. I tap it into the cream a couple times and just gently drag it across my face. It is very, very sheer, and you can see that it literally just looks like my skin, which just slightly a bit more coverage. And then I'm taking a little bit more and building up the coverage to where I want it. This is arguably one of the easiest to blend foundations I have ever tried. So here is half my skin done with Major Skin and half bare. This ended up being the perfect brush to blend this foundation. All my other brushes tend to leave foundations a little bit streaky, and I just last minute decided to use this one because it was the most dense one that I had, and I'm really happy with how it's blending out, and it's super, super cheap. So I'm blending it down my neck and also pressing it in with a sponge, which is what I do with all my foundations. So this is just the foundation, and it literally just looks like my skin. So I'm just going to speed through the rest of the application, and I'll list all the products down below that I have used. So I'm taking a couple swipes of the finishing powder, and I'm going to set the left side of my face with just the finishing powder. And I'm only setting the center of the face here, so underneath the eyes and around the nose, on the forehead a bit, really just the T-zone area. This is how the foundation looks with the finishing powder and without the finishing powder. On the right side, I'm setting my entire face lightly with my RCMA loose no color powder. And then highlighting the center of my face with the finishing powder. So here's just the finishing powder side and the fully set side. And a close-up. What do you guys think? And that is the finished look. And here I'm giving you a different focus with the camera for a bit of different lighting. I 100% agree with Patrick's claim of this being like a second skin look. And here's the different lighting again. To me, this is just natural makeup perfection. I will do a wear test to update you guys about how it holds up and wears through the day. I assume that because it's a cream base that it's gonna be okay. It's not gonna be like the most long lasting, but that's fine. I mean, you can make it longer lasting by setting your whole face with powder, but that's your preference, right? So here's where my heart lays with this product. I love this product. I definitely jumped the gun at the release because Patrick is my favorite makeup artist of all time. This man has a crazy hold on my heart with his products and his makeup and everything, so this is definitely a really easy purchase for me to make. Obviously, I didn't know anything about the product before I ordered it. I have a lot of faith in him and everything that he releases, and everything that I have tried to date I absolutely love. It is a luxury product. For me as a Canadian with taxes, came to $77, I believe, and I didn't have to pay shipping because Sephora has free shipping after a certain amount. It's super pricey, and then with the initial trial I was like, I almost regretted getting it because I was like, whoa, I don't think this is worth the price tag. But let's break it down. So the cream product itself is 12 grams of product. Just for reference, the KVD Good Apple foundation is, I think, close to that in like the amount of product that you get. KVD's cream foundation is around $50 Canadian. And then you also get this finishing powder with the product, which is 9 grams of powder product. So let's do the math. 70 minus 50 is like $17. So I think when you think about how much product you're getting and that it is 2 products in one, it is a fair price for a high-end brand that you're getting. For me, it made sense because I do love his brand and it makes me feel nice to have this product, the way it performs. It is the whole package that I want when I make a splurge, and I don't often make a splurge like this, so it is a very special purchase for me. So yeah, that's my thoughts around the price. I think you can figure out if it's going to be worth it for you or not. The product itself to me is just beautiful. For the price, you're getting a lot. It performs amazingly. The blendability, the performance, the function, it's all there. He makes it so easy for you to have an everyday product that's going to be easy to touch up, easy to apply. It's really fast to blend. Cons, I don't know if I have a con. I think initially the con would have been that it's too dewy, but I don't even know if that's a thing for me because I can just change the finish of it with how I prep my skin and how I normally do my makeup. So I think for anybody the con might be the price, but again, that's totally up to you if it makes sense for you to get or not. Okay, so I hope that was a thorough enough video. I have no idea how long it's gonna be. I'm gonna try and cut this as short as I can. I hope I answered all your questions. If there is anything else that you want to know, obviously you can just comment down below and ask me, and I try to respond to every single person. You know how this works. Give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you know what's coming next. And guys, I'm more active on Instagram because making videos is a lot of work, but yeah, I do love it, so I'm gonna try and do more often. I will update you guys at the end of the night with how everything wore today. So thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys shortly here. Bye. Okay guys, so it is final check-in time. It is currently 10 p.m. Everyone's in bed, so I'm keeping quiet as much as I can. And so this is what the foundation is looking like. So it has been 7 hours now that I've had this on in very high heat and 27 degrees. I was sweating with a hat on and with sunglasses, and I mean, I smoothed out the lines from the sunglasses. I got a little bit of like a line here in my wrinkles, but it's not that bad. And overall, I'm actually really impressed by how well this cream formula stayed on. Like, it's looking a little bit shiny, but it stayed on for the most part, which is crazy. Honestly, this foundation is quite literally a second skin. Like, even with foundations that are skin-like, you can still tell that you're wearing a foundation on your face. But this one when I get close to my skin, it's absolutely undetectable. So it looks incredibly real, but like you still have coverage and a really smooth skin. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So I would say that this was worth the splurge. Yeah, I also have to mention I've been rubbing my face on my kid's face all day and kissing her and cuddling with her, and she's been like putting her hands on my face and it stayed on. I also did a transfer test earlier in the day. I should have showed you guys, but I took a piece of tissue and I put it on my face and the transfer was not that bad. There was like barely a smudge on it. So yeah, this to me is worth it. So yeah, happy.